Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn about employee induction. I am Ms. Dinepthi Asodara Jayaratna, Senior Lecturer, Department of Human Resource Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya. About the learning outcomes of the today's session, you'll learn to define what induction is and the objectives and importance of induction, why we need an induction for a company, and the benefits of an induction program. And we are going to describe and examine the induction process and the critics the effectiveness of an induction program. We will discuss all these stuff within the session. So new employees need to understand organizational philosophies, goals, objectives, policies, procedures, rules and regulations. Why new employees need to understand these stuff? Because they are new. For an example, think about yourself. When you entering into the university, you have a program like induction. එහෙම නැතිනම් නම්නීකරණය, orientation. It has a program. Why? To introduce the university for you. Who is the Vice Chancellor, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, and who are the Deans of the faculties, who are the respective departments that you are going to work in the future. So where is your department, where is your faculty, where is the canteen, and what are the policies of the university? Is there any act for ragging? Is there any place for counseling? Is there any place for career guidance? Then what are the procedures of a university? Is there any rules and regulations for you to adhere? Everything is given within like as an orientation program for some years with the time that the university can attend on. So might be three weeks of orientation, sometimes 2 weeks. This time we had a with the COVID, we couldn't have like a nice orientation program, but yet at least you were introduced to the university and to the faculties. Why is that? It's important that new employees to be oriented to the organization, though he is well qualified and experienced. As the same example, you are well qualified because you got entered to the university with like flying colors for your A levels. Okay, so then though you are well educated up to the standard to enter into a university, you don't know what the university is, where to go, where to whom to meet, whom to discuss when you're having an issue, where are the hostels, where are the washrooms, and what are the rules and regulations. So you don't know anything. Same thing for an organization. Think about an employee who is well experienced in his field. Think about a HR manager who is well experienced for 10 years. He's well qualified, he's experienced, but this is a new organization for him. He don't know what's the policy, procedures and rules and regulations, vision, mission, who is the CEO, GM and all. He doesn't know anyone. So it's important to introduce that employee to the organization. So that's, we call this orientation or induction. So HRM induction is an HRM function. It systematically and formally introduces new employee to the organization, the jobs, work groups to which they will belong to, and the work environment where they will work. What is that? HRM function, that it's a systematic process. So there is a formal process where you have to adhere with. If you're like when you're having an induction program, when you're organizing an induction program, there is a systematic process. That's why it's a system. Formally introduced. It's not like, hi, here, this is the man who is the new employee for us. Okay, you can go and work. No, it's like informal. It's something which is formal that introduces the new employee to the organization. Let's see what you are introducing as the organization in next slides. To the job. What are you going to do in this organization? Work groups. Who are your peers, colleagues, and subordinates and bosses, superiors? Then the work environment. Where is your department is located at? Okay. Likewise, the environment where the employee is going to work. Not only that, it can be explained as the systematic attempt and planned introduction. So the same thing, it's a planned one, it's a formal one of new employee to the organization, to the relevant departments, relevant job, and relevant personals like peers, superiors, and subordinates. It's the process of receiving and welcoming an employee when he first joins a company and giving him the basic information he needs to settle down quickly and happily and start work. Because the company recruits an employee for what? Because the company needs to get the work done from that employee. So as soon as possible, the employee should start the work. So to that, what the company do is welcome the employee in a nicer way. Like welcome you to the company, to the job, to the environment, to the peers and all, and give him the basic information that needs him to settle down very quickly. Because from 2 to 3 days, if he's having an orientation about the company, job and colleagues, from the next week onwards, he'll be very comfortable because he know the company now. He know the basic information for him to settle down quickly and happily and start the work. So this process build within the employee the feeling of belonging to the organization and the comfortable feeling of new organization environment. How it happens? Think about you are going to an organization the first day. No one laugh at you, like no one smile at you. Rather laughing, it's smile. No one smile at you, no one greets you, no one say hello to you. You don't know where to go, whom to meet, nothing. It's just like our udding path vela, handing behala. So you feel confused, like you feel afraid because people don't at least they don't turn their head and look at you. So what happens is employee feels that he's isolated. No, just think about the first day. People smiles at you, welcome at you, hello, how are you? And then they greet at you, they welcome you, they say, okay, let's go, let's see let's meet our CEO, let's meet our GM, let's see your boss. Okay, this is your colleagues, these are the people that you are going to work with. Then everyone greets you, handshake, and then like tapping in your wrist and all. Then what happens? You feel these people are very good, isn't it? So then you feel that feeling of belonging to the organization. I'm very happy. I love this company. These people are very good. You feel such, isn't it? So you feel that comfortableness. And then you feel like you can start the work very easily. So the induction. There are four types as formal, informal, general and special. A formal means the deliberate planned attempt to introduce new employee to the organization, job and job environment. That means it's well planned. Everything is planned. We will discuss it later how the induction program is to be planned. Anyway, the formal program is where it planned very nicely. Informal means it's an ad hoc induction. Like new employee learn through trial and error. You get the employee, hi, that's enough. Then you put the new employee to the work. Only the boss and the closest colleague or employee will come and greet you. Then you learn about the organization, about the job, about the people, and about the working environment by trial and error method. It's what informal induction. That is a general induction where introducing this employee to the organizational setting rather going specific to the job, to the environment or to the colleagues and all. No, just a general induction about a 1 day, 2 to 3 hours, where I just introduced to the organizational setting. And there might be a special induction where that will introduce the new employee to the job environment. So types here, there are like types of induction. Organizational. New employees oriented to vision, mission, goals, strategies, organizational setup, history, and current state of organization. So organization can do a organizational induction where it says everything about the general organization. Vision, mission, then the history, organizational setup, where the buildings, if it's about like the organization has 7 floors, then what are in each floor. Likewise, the organizational setup, the history, like mostly this is the companies put some videos to show this is our organization, this is our history and all, like, and the current state of the organization, generally everything about the organization. And then the department. Orientation on particular department where he or she will have to perform. Just your orientation in the first year thing. You were introduced to the university and to the faculty and its organizational, and then you got orientations for the departments where you will work. Okay, so then it's marketing, then finance, accountancy, and HR, and then you selected HR where you preferred to work in the future. It's about that orientation. So same thing in the organizational orientation where it introduces you to the particular department that you're going to work. So the newcomer should get familiarized of the department objectives. It's a must that the new employee should know about the vision, what the company stands for, what is the company's dream. It is needed, but at the same time, that new employee should know about the department objectives as well. So the functions, the structure from the CEO, how, then like general managers, then assistant general managers, then chief managers, likewise how the structure is going on, and many more. That means every information about the department. Then job. New employee is oriented to the job that he is supposed to perform. Think about a machine operator. Like it might be a new machine to the employee. So if you don't introduce the machine to the employee, what will happen? There might be accidents. So to avoid such things and to make sure that employee operates the machine well, sometimes it can occur an accident or not, then sometimes the machine can be broken for the wrong usage. So the company can introduce how to work with the machine to the employee the job. Sometimes think about cutters, how to use the cutter. If not, he'll cut his finger or full hand, a problem. So likewise, that can be introduced for the duties, responsibilities, working conditions, and anything about the job. Human. Introducing to all the personnel with whom he or she will have to interact frequently. CEO is not a person that an employee like frequently work with. So think about, I'm a management trainee and I'm going to an organization. They give me an induction on the organizational vision, mission, history, and they introduce me to the HR department, its objectives, where the HR department is located at, and then they introduce the job for me, what are my roles and responsibilities, and then they'll introduce me to the head of HR, because he's the one who that I'm going to continuously work with. Head of HR, if there are managers, then another management trainees, if there are senior people, if there are sometimes there might be a PN if it's a government organization, assistant, those people that you are going to frequently work with. For the CEO, when the organizational induction is going on, he might have come and just speak a few words to you. Now you know who is the CEO, That's enough. Okay, because you are not going to directly work with him. Sometimes you might get an interview while you are interviewing in the previous stages, but yet he is not a person that you are going to continuously work with. So rather like hi, hello, something, it's enough. But here it's introducing for the people that you are daily interacting. So he should or he or she should get familiar with peers, superiors, subordinates, and everyone. So why this employee induction is, we are continuously discussing this is induction, this is needed, this is introducing this employee to the organization, department, job itself, and for the employees. So why? The objectives, why? To provide general information about terms and conditions of employment. This is a must because contract of employment include these terms and conditions of employment. So employees should know this very carefully because it's a contract. Both the employer and employee is bound in legal terms when you are entering into the organization by signing your appointment letter. So if something happens, some negative things by the side of you or by the side of employer, both can sue against each other. So to avoid such kind of negative things, it's the good opportunity by the induction, the organization can provide the general information about terms and conditions. You know what are terms and conditions? I discussed these things in previous sessions, like in terms of leaves, salary, then about working conditions, anything included in the terms and conditions. And then to intimate about the mission, aims, objectives, and the company. Then stimulate the interest. So when I told you as when the first time you comes to an organization, when they welcome you very nicely, you feel some like comfortableness. You feel happy about the organization. Then you feel okay, I'm very happy. I feel belongingness to the organization. From next day, I just wanted to start working. So that like motivate you to work. And then provide information and give a clear understanding of their roles, responsibilities, and job requirements with the job induction. Because as I told you, if it's a machine operator, if he doesn't know to like operate the machine well, there will be accidents, might be a death of that employee, or might the machine can be broken, or there might be increase the wastage. Who wants the company? Which company wants to increase the wastage? They are looking forward to zero wastage. Okay, so then because of that, introducing the job at first, it's very good to enable that employee for his efficient and effective contribution to the organization. Minimize the reality shock. What is that? Reality shock. Whenever we are going to a company, we have a perception about the company. Okay, this company is like this. People are very good. Like you feel that. But when you enter into the organization, if no one greets you, no one talk to you, you just go to the job and starting work, like in Handeng Pathvela, it's a shock for you. You feel frustrated, you feels like bad about the company, isn't it? But if the company greets you well, you don't feel that shock. So that's why it minimizes the reality shock. So it builds to build the confidence about self and organization, isn't it? It increases build the confidence about the organization because the company treated you well at the beginning. You feel that confident and about yourself because you know what your job is. That's why. And then to generate favorable attitudes and create a feeling of belongingness. You feel that, okay, I'm belonging to the company. I feel that favorable positive attitudes. I will go home and tell you that company is very good. They treated me well. They introduce everyone to me. I feel happy to go to the company from tomorrow onwards. You create such. and that will increases the public image as well, because you will tell to your friend after you go home, and you take a call to your best friend and said, oh my god, this company is very good, the people in the company, HR department, CEO, HR managers, those people are very good, they treated me well. Likewise, you pass the message to others, isn't it? So that's why, to generate that favorable attitudes, it's very good for the future of the company. So these are the objectives of employee induction, where if a company like plan an induction to achieve these objectives. So the importance, why this is important. Settling smoothly of a new employee in the job. Smooth, because if you feel that shock, if you feel the negative attitudes about the job at the very first day, if you have negative attitudes about your colleagues at very first day, so it's really hard. First impression is the last impression. Generating that impression onwards, it's really hard. So to settle that employee very smoothly, it's really important to do such kind of a induction. A well-developed and organized induction will form a base for future training and development. How would that come from? How? When you are giving the induction for the job and all, the organization can identify the knowledge and the experience of the employee while giving the induction for the job. Okay? Then what happens is, company will set a base, okay? With this employee, these are the training and development need of this, where we have to engage this employee in the future training programs. Can save high cost of recruitment and selection. How that happens? Through an induction program. Just think about this. You know, recruitment and selection incurs a huge cost. Posting an advertisement in a newspaper or a top job, it's a huge cost, and then you get like thousands of applications, then screening them out, having exams, selecting them, and having interviews and all. It incurs a huge energy and a huge cost for the company. So if you give a proper induction for the organization, department, job and employee induction, he feels happy, he feels comfortableness, he have positive attitudes about the organization, and he will start the work well, and he'll stay with the organization. He'll not leave the organization. Okay? But if the company doesn't do a proper induction, what happens? It creates a reality shock, and the employee will not have positive attitudes, and he'll be frustrated. What happens is, from 2 to 3 days, he'll started getting absent, because he is looking for another job. This company doesn't feels good, because this company didn't welcome me well. I don't know what to do. I don't know whom to report and all. Like, confused are they. So from absent, then he'll leave the company. So what happens is, company has to go the recruitment and selection process again to find another employee. So it incurs a huge cost there. So that's why, if you have a proper induction, it will save the cost of recruitment and selection. Integrating of the new employees with the team, because you are entering into a new team as a new employee. If you have not introduced to the other team members, you feel that awkward, isn't it? I don't know these people, how these people are going on, they don't even smile at me. Likewise you feel, isn't it? But if the company introduce you to them and them to you, you know each other now. So you feel comfortable, and like quickly you can integrate with them. Start contributing soon for the organization. From next day onwards, since you know everything now, you don't feel that you are new. You'll start to work quickly. So the benefits. We discussed about the objectives and importance, why an induction program is needed for a company. Now it's about the benefits. We have discussed this, okay? It's like a combination of objectives, and importance. So these are the benefits. Low waste and accidents. As I discussed, obviously when you know how to work, it reduces the wastage and accidents. Low tardiness and absenteeism and turnover. You don't feel like when you like doing something that you don't know, you feel tired, isn't it? You feel like physically as well as emotionally tired. But when you know something, when you know people around us, you feel comfortable. So it will not, you don't feel tired, and then you're not going to get absent and you don't going to leave the company. It reduces the reality shock and culture shock. You start to contribute soon. You generate positive attitudes about the company and people. You increase the loyalty. You like stay with the company for a longer time. Speed up the socialization. We will discuss the socialization at the end of the sessions. It speed up the socialization. You start to interact with your team and the members. You like start social relationships with your society. Familiarization with the job quickly because you have introduced to the task, duties and responsibilities. You have created the feelingness of belongingness. I'm a part of this company because these people treats me well. They accept me to the company. So you feel that you are a part and parcel of the company and build confidence. You feel like confident enough. Okay, I'm going to start. I'm pretty like yeah, I'm fit with this organization. Likewise, you'll start like enhancing the confidence. Okay, now it's time to have a like to conduct an induction program. What to do? It's a process. I told you it's a systematic process. Okay, so it's a three-step process: preparation, like conducting the program, and evaluation its success and failure. So to prepare, it's a like a lengthy process to prepare. You know, to prepare for an exam is a lengthy process, but writing for the exam is about 2 hours or 3 hours. Like likewise, you have to prepare it very carefully because this induction program is about something very important where you create a sense of belongingness of the employee to the company. It creates the loyalty, motivation, satisfaction. It reduces the wastage like accidents, and then feel comfortableness of the employee. So likewise, there are so many benefits. So to create that benefits, you have to plan according to that. So when you are preparing for an induction program, you have to think what kind of information are given to the employees or newcomers, who is the one who going to give this information, and how. So in terms of the general information or organizational induction, you have to first give about the information about the nature of the organization. So then about the name of the organization. What's your name? Because we have to know, the employees should know where they are going to work. So vision, mission, values, goals, functions, products, production process, organization structure, top management, their names, if you have a director board, board of directors, the CEO, GM, and their names, positions. Then if you have special customers, like apparel sector, for MAS they have special customers. For Hella, they have like specific customers. For Hydromani, they have specific. So you like cater for specific customers. So the employees should know that as well. Then the history of the organization. So who is the best person to give these information? The CEO or the GM. He is the highest position, or the like the owner of the company. So he is the one who knows everything very well. So because of that, we can use both, or one of, see, if you have a GM, you can have the GM. If you have the CEO, you can have the CEO. So how to give this information? Like small informations, we can give through a speech because it inspired the people. Oh my God, CEO have come and introduced the company for us. It creates that positive attitude, isn't it? Or through videos about the history, about the customers, about the production processes, products. Those stuff can be like given using videos, films, and then for others like we can use a lecture. Okay, then personal policies, procedures and rules in terms of grievance handling, discipline, labor relations, health and safety management, employee movements, and most of the HR practices about leave, how to obtain leave, leave management procedures. This grievance handling is really important because when we are working in a company or anywhere, we get grievances. So we need a person to talk those problems with. So the company might have a procedure where they might have a counselor within the company to help you. Or there might be a person in HR who knows counseling. So you can reach that person for grievance handling. It's about personal matters. So think about you have a issue with a colleague or a boss. Then there should be a person to speak with. So it's grievance handling. Discipline, if a person do a indisciplinary action, so how the stuff happens, communicating the disciplinary procedure is really important because when employees should know what are the rules and regulations of the company. If they break a rule, what happens for them, they should know that. Then labor relations, then health and safety. If it's a company with working with toxic chemicals, so you should be provided with health and safety equipments and you should educate to how to use those. And then employee movements, like especially how you are getting a transfer, how you can apply for a transfer, what are the conditions to apply for a transfer, and then about promotions, movements, how to get a promotion, what are the qualifications that I have to complete. Likewise, those informations, the best person for these personal policies, procedures, the HR manager. So most of the stuff, these grievance handling, discipline and about employee movements, these informations are included in the employee handbook. So we can use the employee handbook for the employees to read. But there might be more questions. Okay, for that the company can use a presentation or they can conduct a lecture as well. So rewards, wages, salaries, how I am getting welfare facilities, leave, pay days, and then overtime, how you are paid when you work overtime, promotion, training opportunities. These types are also the best person is HR manager or human resource specialist. For this also you can use the employee handbook or a booklet or a lecture or a question answer sessions because the most questions are relating to your salary, wages and benefits, welfare, like we are having trips, and then about educational scholarships for you. Those are welfare facilities. So you can ask some questions from the company HR manager and solve those. And then about job and job environment. This is a must because you are going to do a job at the company. So about the job title, location, job objective, task, responsibilities, targets, performance standards. Why this performance standard is needed? Because performance evaluation is there. So you should know how your performance is evaluated. So standards criteria are needed to know. Then working conditions, about the humidity, then about the lighting, then tools and equipments. If you are doing a hand job, then about the tools and equipments that you are going to use and how to use them. And then the relationship between the job, your job and the other jobs, because might be your job, the outcome of your job is affected by affected to another job. If you don't complete your task well, another job cannot be started. Not only that, there might be jobs that affected to your job. So likewise, for these type of informations, HR manager doesn't know anything much about the job. The best person is the immediate supervisor, because he's the one who supervises your job. So immediate supervisor knows very well about the task, duties, responsibilities, equipments and everything. So for this, the informations can be given using documents like job description. You know what is a job description, job specification, and then job performance standard statements which developed by the company. Performance appraisal forms. Using a performance appraisal form, you will be able to understand the criteria and standards which the company looked for when you are when they are doing a performance evaluation. And then visits. If you are going to work in a factory, they might use a factory visit for you to understand the working environment, presentations, notes and lecture. And then personal, like introducing you to the supervisor, subordinates, peers, HR head and staff, then employee counselor, top management. Why HR staff? Why HR staff specifically? Why don't you meet to accounting staff? Why don't you meet to finance department? Why don't you go to marketing department? Why HR? Because HR is the one who is responsible for employees. If you want a leave, you go to HR. If you want an educational loan, you go to HR. If you have an issue with the employee, you go to HR. If you have an issue with your appointment letter, you go to HR. If you want to apply for a promotion, you go to HR. So because of that, you need to know who works at the HR department, so who are responsible for each staff. Okay. So for this, we can use HR manager or the employee's immediate supervisor. Sometimes trade union representatives. Companies use this. Why? Because you know a trade union means it's accepted by the laws. And also if the company has trade unions, you should give them the due recognition. If not, they'll like involving negative activities for the company. So because of that, better to involve these people as well. So the most like the best method to introduce for the personnel is visits. So we prepare what type of information and whom to give and what type of methods to use. And then the time period, we have to think of the time period that we are conducting the induction program. So nature of the organization, job and available time is considered. You know, if it's a big company, you have like time and resources availability is high. You can spend little bit high budget on induction, then there will be a lengthy induction program. But if the time is not available, there might be have a shorter program. That's why mostly larger organizations, they have induction for 1 week sometimes 2 weeks as well. Okay, especially for management trainees, they have such kind of lengthy programs. But for non-managerial employees, they have 1 or 2 days, because there's like that much of ample information is overloaded for them. They need to know what is the job, and sometimes the salary and benefits given by the company, and immediate supervisor and the HR staff, that's enough for them. So depending on the job, depending on the organization and the time availability, the company can decide the duration of the orientation program. Then where to have this? Sometimes the companies, with their budget and time availability, they organize the induction program when if it's a larger organization, they might have a conference room. Then obviously they can arrange it within the organization. Okay, if it's a 1 to 2 days orientation also, they can arrange it within the organization. But sometimes organizations go for outside for induction with their budget availability. If it goes for 1 week, they go for outside. Sometimes it depends on the upon the company. And some organizations have their own training centers, like for MAs they have their Nike training center in Tulhiria, so they can use them. Likewise, some companies has their own training centers, they can use that training center to have the. So to like implementing, now we have decided what information from whom and what methods, the time duration and the place. Now the induction program is put into action as planned. So to be implemented by the relevant supervisors. So mostly HR department is involved here, but if it's marketing management trainees, so the marketing department is also involved in the induction program. So if separate HR department is established, induction plan has to be implemented by the head of HR. So most of the time the responsibility of induction is to HR manager. That's why you are learning this, because in the future you will be HR managers. So an adequate supervision is needed. So most HR manager is not the one who like involved in everything. So sometimes interns, sometimes management trainees, sometimes assistant managers are the one who like getting the responsibility of induction program and implementing that. But the HR manager and a top position has to have this adequate supervision whether the program is run smoothly. So induction checklist is needed to ensure the successful implementation. Let's see. When it comes to a checklist of an induction program, here a sample checklist which I found in the internet. Okay, when we are preparing, we discussed about what information is given from who, given by whom and all, with the time and all. So you can prepare like a checklist, the time, the information is given, which method, like in the preparation you should have that checklist and then check it, done. Likewise, you have to prepare a checklist to ensure successful implementation of the induction program. Then the evaluation. This is the systematic attempt to assess the degree of success in the induction program. That means to assess the degree of success, whether you have been successfully implemented the planned program. So were the objectives you planned, were objectives achieved? If to what extent have you be able to complete all the objectives, then the best. But to what extent? So what can be done to improve the program in the future? So if there are mistakes, if you couldn't achieve the objectives, what can you do to the future to improve the program? So to get the answers for this, you can have a questionnaire as a feedback form. You can give it to the participants to the induction program, which includes about the objectives and all. Prepare nice in a feedback form, and then you can get it filled by the participants and ensure whether the objectives have been achieved or not, or a special form containing the questions. So this is the evaluation is done by the HR department, because the effort is initiated by the HR department. So this is a sample induction evaluation questionnaire, like a 5-point Likert scale, which enables the higher response rate. Because you know, whenever we given a questionnaire to write in detail, we do not prefer for that. We love for a questionnaire with which we can quickly tick. Okay, so such kind of stuff that you can develop to evaluate induction program. So what will happen without an effective induction program? That means if you have an ineffective induction program, what will happen? All the importance will be not there. All the benefits you will not get if you don't have a proper induction program. Poor integration into the team, because you haven't given a proper induction, you will not get that integration. Low morale, particularly for new employees, because these induction programs are targeted to new employees. Okay, so if you don't give proper induction for them, it's low morale because they feel that this company is not accepting us. So the loss of productivity, failure to work to their highest potential, because from the first day onwards, when a new employee feels that they are like positively accepted by the organization, they start to give their fullest. If you don't have such kind of a program, they will not start to give their fullest. Additional cost for recruiting a replacement if the new employee left the organization. Then wasted time of for the inductor. We used our CEO or HR manager or outside special consultant to give rewards information and all. So it's wasted time for them. And lowering morale for the remaining staff. Why? Because they see people leave the organization and see, okay, why that people left the organization. If the company doesn't like accept the employees well and all, like a bad impression is going around the organization, then what happens is it reduces the morale of the existing employees as well, and damage to the company's reputation. Because as in the first 2 to 3 slides I said, if the company accepts me really nicely for the first 2 to 3 days, obviously I'll share the message with my friends. The same thing, if the company negatively treat you, same, I'll share the message. You too will do the same. So that will damage the companies. So achievements of effective orientation or induction, what happens? Favorable impression. We feel positive about the organization. Provides information. Employees get all the information about the company. Co-worker acceptance. With the personal induction, people accepts you. Co-worker acceptance. Socialization and integration, which is you integrate. Socialization is rather induction. It's a longer process, like it's a lengthy process where it's implied rules and regulations. Companies have norms, beliefs, values, which sometimes in implied manner, which doesn't speaks in words or in written in books. So adhering to those implied norms, values, that is socialization. So performance and productivity. So if you have a proper, nice, effective induction program, the company can achieve these stuff. So how the induction program happens? We discussed about the preparation, conduct and evaluation. The same thing, prepare the new employee. We can have a buddy, a mentor. You know who is a buddy? Like for whom that you call buddy, your friend. So the company can give the new employee a buddy who can be considered as a friend, who will support the new employee to go here and there within the organization. Then the employee will not feel isolated. The buddy. Use an orientation checklist we discussed to ensure that whether we have covered the needed information. Present the information which most appropriate in terms of employee handbook, like posters, lectures, videos, films, anything. Avoid information overloaded. That's why sometimes you have 5 days induction programs to ensure that per day you give a particular amount of information. If you have lectures for full day from 8 to 10, 10 to 1, then 1:30 to 3:30, 5 to 7, you will die at the end of the day, isn't it? Information overloaded, boring, and it's hard. So likewise, the company should ensure that the informations are not overloaded. And then evaluation and follow-up is must, where we have to ensure whether the objectives are achieved, if not, to what extent, and then to improve the future programs and ensure that it becomes an effective employee induction. So the principles of employee induction. When you're having an induction program, you should ensure that it meets the business needs. Providing clear definitions about the vision mission. Review the induction process regularly to meet changes when they occur. The companies, they changes their vision, might be these days according to like the impact of the corona or COVID-19. if the like the Sri Lankan import-export industry has been changed. So sometimes the vision missions of the companies might have been changed. So the induction program, the information should be updated according to those changes. Evaluate the results of the induction program systematically to ensure whether they have met the business needs, because ultimately all these like efforts, it might be recruitment, selection, induction, rewards and management, training and development, anything ultimately contribute to the business success or to ensure meeting the business needs. So every process of HR should link at the end of meeting the business needs. Okay. And then the customer focus. Give a clear idea about the customer needs. That's why in the induction program, companies discusses about the customers, whom we are catering, whom we are addressing, what kind of needs that we are addressing. Because if not, the employee will not cater the customer needs well. So customer, and then involvement of senior management. This will enable to offer a clear communication of leadership philosophy or organizational philosophy, vision, mission of the organization. That's why we are using CEO and GM at very first, because they are the one who know very well about the company philosophy. They are the owners of the company. So we need that involvement of senior managers. We need the acceptance of the senior management to the employee induction. So encourage the other managers to contribute to the induction. Obviously, we feel, oh my God, CEO has come to the induction program. CEO by himself like introduce the company. So why don't we do? Why don't we support? Likewise, it encourages the other managers. Direct relevance of information, very important, because information should not be overloaded, and also important information should not be avoided. Like thinking about, okay, this much of information is too much, thinking on that you'll cut some important information. No, when you are preparing, you should be ensure that the information, important information has been transferred, and like useless informations are avoided. Higher involvement of immediate supervisor manager in induction. This is very important. Why? Responsibility of induction must always lie with immediate manager, because the employees most of the time working with the immediate manager rather than the HR head or the CEO, GM or board of directors. So we should deal with the immediate supervisor. Immediate superior should know how my new employee is. That's why we are involving that immediate supervisor to introduce the job, like task, duties and all. So that's why we have to get the input from the line managers and staff managers when induction is planned, because you are like preparing to give the information about the task, duties, responsibilities of the job. So when you are preparing the stuff, you have to get the information and get the involvement of the line manager or the immediate supervisor, because they might have get good ideas how to introduce the job to the employee. Then concern the human side of the induction. What is this? New employees should be allowed to socialize with other human beings in the organization appropriately. From the first day onwards, you are getting the information about the organization, about your job, about your work premises and all. So where are other human beings? That's why the concern of the human side, where the new employee get the chance to mingle with the other employees, because we are human creatures. We want social relationships to live. We can't be isolated at an organization. So you should need that socialization. Essential to influence the inductees to believe in, feel positively, and rend to behave positively about the job, department and organization. So then only they'll be able to feel positive about everything and start working zone. In previous 2 to 3 slides, we were like, there was a word like socialization. So what is this? Whether this induction is like induction is same as socialization, or whether these are two words. Let's see. Induction here is the definition HRM function that systematically and formally introduces new employees to the organization, jobs, the work group to which they belong to, and the work environment where they will work. We discussed this. This is the thing we discussed in detail here. Okay, this is a short-term process. 5 days a program, 2 to 3 days a program, 1 day a program, or anything. So it informs new employees about their new positions and the company vision, mission, task, duties, responsibilities, and about the working environment and your colleagues, supervisors, and followers. So induction starts the socialization process and it will accelerate the process. Then let's see what is socialization. That means induction is the starting point of socialization, but it's not socialization. Induction supports the socialization process to accelerate, speed up the socialization process. Induction give a back. What is socialization? It's an ongoing process through which an employee begins to understand and accepts the value, norms and beliefs held by the organization. It's an ongoing process. It's not a short-term program. Like it doesn't start from today and it stopped by next week. No, it's a lengthy process. It's an ongoing process, but still it's about understanding these values, norms, beliefs of the organization. In the induction, the company owners give about the information about the history, philosophy, about the vision and all, give the information, okay, and accepts the employee. Here it's done by the employee. He starts understanding the values, norms, beliefs which are implied. Sometimes these values, norms, beliefs are not like given by the presentations given through handbooks, nothing. But these are implied things which are inside, hidden inside the organization. By giving the information using an induction program, employees started understanding these hidden values, hidden beliefs, hidden norms of the organization. That's why it says as a long-term process, because we cannot understand the company's values, norms within a 1 day, within 2 to 3 or 5 days. So that's why socialization process has several phases that helps employees to familiarize themselves to new organization, understand its culture and company's expectations and settle in the job, isn't it? By understanding each and everything, by understanding, values, norms, beliefs are the organizational culture. So with the information given in the induction program, the new employee starts to understand the company's culture, familiarize them to the organizational culture, which helps the employees to work according to the company's expectations and settle in the job easily. That's the socialization process. Okay, so now you might understand that induction and socialization are two words and two processes. That is the end of employee induction. If you have any questions, you can put it through my email. Thank you very much.